I never thought I would find myself standing in front of my own home, heart racing as I watched my world shatter into a million pieces. It was all because of a simple message. I took her side, Mom. You need to leave. Those words echoed in my mind like a haunting melody, a bitter reminder of how quickly everything can change. My son, the one I had raised with love and care, had chosen to align with his father's mistress, Lauren. I felt betrayed, dejected, and utterly alone. But it was in that moment of despair that I realized I couldn't let this crush me. I had to fight back. As the sun set that Tuesday evening, I glanced nervously at the window, recalling Mrs. Caldwell's warnings about mysterious visitors. Every Tuesday for weeks, I had seen them, a shadowy figure drifting to the garage, whispers too quiet to hear, yet loud enough to stir doubt in my heart. The nail-biting tension was suffocating. I needed proof. That was the only way to reclaim what was mine and prove to my son that things weren't as simple as they seemed. The next day, I visited a local electronics store, my hands trembling as I picked up a small hidden camera. Emily, my closest friend, suggested it, knowing how critical it was to gather evidence. I told her about my suspicions and the feeling of hopelessness settling in my chest. You need to know the truth, Olivia, she said, her eyes serious. You owe it to yourself to uncover what's going on behind your back. I nodded, determination flooding through me. Once home, I quietly installed the camera in the living room, aiming it discreetly toward the door leading to the garage. My own heart pounded like a drum as I set everything in motion. Hiding it behind a decorative plant, I felt an odd mix of excitement and dread. Would I really uncover the betrayal I feared, or would I only find more reasons to doubt myself? With a sigh, I took a moment to breathe before making more decisions. It was time for me to take control. That evening, I changed the locks on the front and back doors. It was a small but meaningful step toward independence. I also closed our joint bank account, feeling a strange sense of empowerment wash over me as I made the transfer to my own account. I had worked hard for every penny, and I wouldn't let anyone take that away from me. Over the next week, I remained calm while tension simmered at home. Mark, my husband, suspected nothing as I played the part of the dutiful wife. But I was gathering evidence, and each time a Tuesday rolled around, the camera captured something new. The weight of my findings was heavy, but I held on, determined to confront both Mark and Lauren. Finally, after a tense week of waiting, the big day arrived. I reviewed the footage for the last time, confirming my worst fears. My heart sank as I watched Mark and Lauren exchange intimate words in the garage, a betrayal woven into the fabric of my marriage. I knew it was time for the truth to come out. I would no longer allow myself to be manipulated. As I prepared for the confrontation, I recalled the conversations with Emily. I spent sleepless nights staring at the ceiling, the sting of betrayal cutting deep. The grainy footage from the hidden camera played over and over in my mind. I had seen enough to understand the depths of Mark and Lauren's deceit. I took a deep breath, steeling myself for the confrontation I dreaded yet knew I had to face. "Mom, can we talk?" my son Jason asked one afternoon as I stood by the window, watching the leaves fall. His voice was soft, but held an edge of concern that made my heart ache. "Sure, Jason." I turned to face him, trying to keep my emotions tucked away. "What's on your mind?" "I've been thinking about everything that's happened. I know this is hard for you, but Lauren is important to me. I don't understand why you can't see that." The lump in my throat grew. "Jason, I loved your father. I never imagined he would betray our marriage like this. It's not just about me. It's about the family we built together. Mom, Lauren didn't mean for this to happen. It's not just her fault," he insisted, his eyes pleading for understanding. I shook my head, a mixture of anger and sadness swelling within me. "You don't see it, do you? This isn't just a mistake. It's a choice. Your father had options, and he chose her." He shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the floor. "It's complicated, I know, but I want us to find a way to get through this. Can't you just try?" I closed my eyes for a moment, trying to find the right words. I need to focus on healing, Jason, and right now, that means confronting the truth head on. I can't pretend everything is okay. He nodded slowly, his frustration palpable. But Mom, if you keep pushing away everyone, you'll end up alone. Maybe that's what I need right now, I replied, my voice firmer than I felt. To be alone and figure out what I want. Jason stepped closer, his expression softening. I just want you to be happy. As he left the room, I felt the weight of his words settle on my shoulders. I needed to find my footing, not just for myself, but for him too. I had wasted enough time feeling lost and betrayed. It was time to stand firm. The day arrived when I planned to confront Mark and Lauren. I gathered the evidence I had collected, the incriminating videos, and placed them in a folder. My hands trembled slightly, but I steadied my breath. This confrontation was necessary, not just for me, but for closure. When they arrived, the tension in the room was palpable. Mark walked in first, his face a mask of guilt. Olivia, can we talk? Talk? You mean lie? I shot back, unable to hide my anger. You may want to look at this first. I handed him the folder, knowing the weight of what was inside. He glanced at Lauren, who shifted uneasily beside him. What is this? Mark asked, his voice tight. Evidence of your affair, I replied, my voice steady. There's no way to deny it now. He opened the folder, and I watched his face drain of color. Olivia, No more excuses, Mark, I interrupted. The day arrived when I had to face Mark and Lauren. My heart raced as I sat at the dining room table, the hidden camera footage ready to play on my laptop. I had rehearsed this moment in my head 1,000 times, crafting my words with the precision of a surgeon, but nothing could prepare me for the raw emotion that surged within. I took a deep breath, my fingers trembling as I opened the laptop. Mark strolled in, casual and indifferent as ever. "What's going on, Olivia?" he asked, his voice dripping with fake concern. I shot him a glare. "We need to talk. You don't get to act like everything is fine, not after what I found out." His brows furrowed, and I could see a flicker of something, fear, guilt, cross his face. "What do you mean?" I pressed play. The grainy footage displayed an image of Mark, his arm draped casually over Lauren's shoulder as they shared laughs in our living room. I had to fight against the rising tide of nausea. My heart sank as their words echoed in the room. "I can't believe she bought it," Lauren giggled, the sound sharp and cutting. I paused the video, gathering my strength. "This is what I found, Mark. This is what you've been doing behind my back." His face turned pale. "Olivia, No, don't you dare try to deny it," I interrupted, my voice steady despite the chaos within me. "You think I didn't notice the late nights? The whispers when I walked into the room? I trusted you, Mark. Olivia, it's not what it looks like. You have to believe me." His voice rose, but I could see the cracks in his calm facade. I leaned closer, my resolve hardening. "Oh, it's exactly what it looks like. You've betrayed me, and I won't sit quietly anymore, watching you tear our family apart." As I continued to confront him, I saw the defiance fade from his eyes, replaced by desperation. "Look, we can work this out. Just give me a chance." "Work what out?" I laughed bitterly. "There's nothing left to work out. You've made your choice. You picked Lauren over me. Don't you dare pretend that you didn't." Just then, as if on cue, Lauren burst through the door, oblivious to the storm brewing inside. "Mark, Get out!" I shouted, pointing to the door. "This is between me and my husband." Lauren stood frozen for a moment, her face drained of color. "What's going on here?" I didn't bother answering. Instead, I turned back to Mark, meeting his gaze with a fierce intensity. "The court will see this too. I'll make sure everyone knows what you've done." "Please, Olivia," Mark pleaded, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "I never meant for it to end like this." The tension crackled in the air. "But it did end, didn't it? You chose betrayal over honesty. We're done." With those words, I could feel a weight lift from my shoulders. I had taken my stand. The battle had begun, but I felt empowered, ready to fight for my freedom. As Mark and Lauren exchanged worried glances, I knew this was just the beginning. With everything I had collected, I would walk into that courtroom and take back my life and my son's respect. As I sat in my quiet kitchen, a sense of calm washed over me, despite the chaos surrounding my life. I had been through the storm, confronting Mark and Lauren about their affair, and now it was time for the next step. The reality of what I'd discovered had hit me hard, but I was determined to reclaim my independence and emotional well-being. No longer would I let their betrayal define my future. I was repairing my life piece by piece, much like a jigsaw puzzle. I had changed the locks on our home, taking a step further into my newfound freedom. I didn't need Mark's approval to feel secure in my own space. My decision to close our joint bank account had also been liberating. The financial independence I sought felt like regaining a part of myself that had been lost. "You'll regret this," he had said when I broke the news, yet it only fueled my resolve. With each passing day, I found strength in my solitude. I would often lock eyes with the reflection in the mirror and whisper affirmations to myself. "You are stronger than you think," I'd say, reminding myself that I deserved better. I had also started attending a support group for women who had faced similar betrayals. Listening to their stories, feeling their pain and triumphs, I realized I was not alone in this journey. One evening, as I prepared for the court hearing, my phone pinged with a message from Jason. "Mom, can we talk?" I hesitated for a moment before responding. "Sure, when do you want to meet?" My heart raced, unsure of how he would react to the changes I was making. I wanted him to understand that this was about my healing, not just about us as a family. At the hearing, I dressed in my best suit, feeling both nervous and empowered. Mark and Lauren sat across from me, their expressions unreadable. When it was my turn to speak, I presented the evidence I had collected, my voice steady despite the rising emotions within me. "What you two did doesn't just affect your lives," I stated clearly, locking eyes with each of them. "It has repercussions that ripple out to affect our family." The judge listened intently as I described the betrayal, the emotional manipulation, the lies that had spun around me like a web. I could see Mark squirming in his seat, and it felt good. It felt right to finally face them both. I spoke about my desire for a fair resolution, a new beginning, without their shadows looming over me. When the judge delivered the decision in my favor, the weight that lifted off my shoulders was indescribable. I managed a small smile, more for myself than anyone else in the room. In that moment, I felt free. As I walked out of the courtroom, I finally let go of the lingering bitterness. I was ready to move forward. After the proceedings, I grabbed coffee with a few women from the group. "You were amazing," one of them said, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "You stood up for yourself." "Thank you," I replied, a sense of pride swelling in my chest. I think we all need to hear that we deserve to be treated with respect. That night, as I settled into bed, I realized I had found a new purpose. As I sat in the courtroom, my heart raced. The air was thick with tension, a mixture of anticipation and dread. I had prepared for this day, yet nothing could fully prepare me for the reality of confronting not just my soon-to-be ex-husband Mark, but also my sister-in-law Lauren, the woman I once considered family. The judge entered, and the energy shifted. "Olivia Caldwell, please take the stand," the clerk called out, and I felt my legs move almost on their own, as though they were carrying me toward my destiny. I took a deep breath and steadied myself. The prosecution began by showing the footage from my hidden camera, a damning record of Mark and Lauren's betrayal. I watched their faces fall as the screen illuminated their deceit. It felt surreal, almost like an out-of-body experience, seeing the proof of their affair play out in front of a room full of strangers. "How did it feel to discover your husband with your sister-in-law?" the lawyer asked, her voice steady as she faced me. I swallowed hard. "It felt like my entire world had collapsed," I replied honestly. I trusted them both completely. To see them together like that, it shattered me. I could see Mark's expression shift, anger, guilt, regret, all swirling together. When he finally spoke, it was laced with desperation. "Olivia, I never meant to hurt you. It was a mistake." I shook my head. "A mistake? You knew exactly what you were doing, Mark. You chose to betray our marriage and our family." The judge listened intently, and I felt a surge of strength as I continued. I explained how I had taken control of my life after their betrayal, how I canceled our joint bank account and changed the locks on our home. Each word strengthened my resolve. The defense attempted to paint a different picture, claiming that it was all one big misunderstanding. Mark was confused, Olivia. This is a rough patch for both of you, right? Lauren chimed in, her voice dripping with feigned innocence. I could feel the anger bubbling inside me as I took a moment before responding. Confused? This wasn't a rough patch. It was a blatant betrayal. You both need to take responsibility for your actions, I said firmly, my voice rising slightly. The weight of the truth felt heavy on my shoulders, but I wouldn't back down. After what felt like an eternity, the judge finally spoke, his voice calm yet authoritative. Based on the evidence presented, I rule in favor of Olivia Caldwell. The words echoed in my mind, a beautiful melody, countering the chaos of the last few months. Relief washed over me, and I realized that I was free from the pain, the betrayal, and the chaos that had dominated my life. As I stepped out of the courtroom, the sunlight hit my face, warming me from the inside out. I felt lighter than I had in months, as if the weight of the world had been lifted. I had found my voice, my independence, and my purpose. My phone buzzed in my pocket as I walked down the steps, and I hesitated before looking at it. It was Mark, calling again. I silenced it without hesitation. I didn't need to answer. I was ready to move forward, not backward. As I stood outside the courtroom, the weight of the past few weeks pressed heavily on my shoulders. For months, I had been gathering evidence, navigating through betrayal and heartbreak, all while pretending everything was fine. But today was different. Today, I would finally have my voice heard. The courtroom was filled with tension, and I could feel it thickening in the air. Mark sat across from me, flanked by his sister Lauren, their expressions a mix of confidence and fear. I had collected my thoughts and my evidence, ready to confront them both. As the judge entered, a hush fell over the room. I took a deep breath, reminding myself of the strength I had discovered within me since unveiling their treachery. I had changed the locks on our home, closed our joint bank account, and reclaimed my independence. I wasn't the same woman they had manipulated. The judge began, "We are here today to discuss the case presented by Miss Olivia. Please proceed." I stood up, my heart racing. "Your Honor, thank you for giving me this opportunity. In the past months, I have learned that trust can be shattered in an instant. I never thought that my husband and sister-in-law would betray me in such a profound way." I could hear the silence, feel the eyes of the courtroom on me. Their expressions remained stoic, but I could see a flicker of uncertainty in Mark's gaze. I continued, "This all started when a neighbor warned me about strange visits to our home on Tuesdays. I had my suspicions, so I installed a hidden camera. What I discovered was heartbreaking. My husband, the man I loved, was sneaking around with my sister-in-law." Gasps echoed in the room. My voice wavered slightly as I spoke. "I have footage of them together. It's hard to reconcile that the people I trusted the most could conspire against me in such a personal way." The judge nodded, and I could tell he understood the gravity of the situation. Mark shifted uncomfortably in his seat. I pressed on, revealing the emotional toll their betrayal had taken on me. Their actions not only broke my heart, but also manipulated our entire family dynamic. It led my son to take their side, forcing me into isolation. Mark shot a glance at our son in the back of the courtroom. I could see the confusion etched on his young face, torn between loyalties. I longed to reach out to him, to explain that I was fighting for our family's integrity. As I presented the rest of my evidence, I felt a sense of clarity. I detailed the confrontations we had, the emotional upheaval they had caused, and how I was determined to rebuild my life. After I finished, my voice was steadier. I seek not just justice, but a chance to show my son the strength of a woman who stands up for herself. When I sat down, the judge spoke again. "Based on the evidence and testimony, I side with Miss Olivia. The court acknowledges the emotional damage caused and affirms her right to pursue her independence." A wave of relief washed over me. I had won. But more than that, I felt liberated. The gavel struck, sealing the decision, and with it, my path to healing. As I walked out of the courtroom, I felt lighter, like a heavy fog had lifted. As I stepped out of the courtroom, the enormity of the moment washed over me like a tidal wave. The air felt different, lighter somehow. I could hardly believe that I had fought and won, that I had uncovered the truth that had been hiding in plain sight. The judge's ruling echoed in my mind, my right to independence, to reclaim my life. A small smile crept onto my face as I turned to leave, but it quickly faded when I realized that Mark was waiting for me outside, his expression unreadable. "Olivia, can we talk?" he asked, his voice barely carrying over the bustle of the courthouse. I felt my heart race, but I took a deep breath and steadied myself. "What is there to talk about, Mark? You've shown your true colors." He looked taken aback. "I know I messed up, but we can work this out, for Jake's sake. Don't you dare use our son as a pawn. This isn't about him, it's about you," I shot back, feeling the fire of anger ignite within me. "Lauren and I," he began, but I cut him off. "Is that how you're going to justify your betrayal? If you wanted to be with her, you should have been honest. Instead, you shattered everything." Mark's shoulders slumped slightly, the weight of the truth hanging over him. "I never meant to hurt you." I shook my head. "You did. And now it's time for me to reclaim my life." I turned, ready to walk away, but he grabbed my arm gently. "Olivia, please, I still care about you." I wrenched my arm free and looked him in the eye. "Caring isn't enough anymore. You lost that right when you chose to betray me." As I walked away, I could feel his eyes on me, a mixture of regret and disbelief. It felt good to stand my ground, to know that I was choosing myself for once. The following weeks were challenging but liberating as I changed the locks on our home and closed our joint bank account. I spent late nights crafting a plan for my new life, focusing on securing my financial independence. I thought of the support groups I had stumbled upon online, the stories of women who had taken a stand against betrayal and emerged stronger on the other side. I wanted to share my journey, to inspire, to help them find their voices too. One evening, while sorting through the remnants of my old life, I received a call from one of the women I had met online. "Olivia, I can't thank you enough for sharing your story last week. It inspired me to take action." "Thank you for saying that," I replied, warmth filling my heart. "We all deserve to reclaim our happiness." "Do you have any advice for someone who's just starting out?" she asked. "First, know that you are not alone. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, and don't be afraid to seek help. Your worth is not defined by someone else's actions." As I hung up, I realized that every time I shared my experience, I not only helped others, but also healed myself. I was finding a community, a sisterhood, bound by resilience and strength. Each day, I felt more at ease, more empowered.